Okay, so like imagine a world, where anyone could have access to really powerful AI, not just like the big tech companies,
Yeah.
right? That's like the promise of DeepSeek. It's a new AI lab that's kind of shaking things up with this model they have called DeepSeek R1.
Yeah, it's what's really exciting is that they're kind of going head to head with these giants like OpenAI, but they have a twist. They're all about open source,
Yeah.
meaning that anyone can use and adapt their technology.
It's kind of like the difference between a secret recipe locked away in a vault
Mm-hmm.
versus like a cookbook that everyone can share and contribute to. It's a
Exactly.
really good analogy.
Yeah, so this is a big deal because it could mean a huge shift, in the AI world, potentially making these amazing tools available to everyday people like you and me.
Not just like researchers and, people with tons of money. Yeah. So in this deep dive, we're going to explore DeepSeek's innovations. And we're really going to try to get down to, why they matter. For the future of AI, think of it as like a crash course on how DeepSeek could change the game for you, even if you aren't a tech whiz at all.
Right. So one of the things that has got people talking is DeepSeek's efficiency. They've managed to train these powerful AI models at a fraction of the cost that we've seen before.
Yeah, I saw that headline about a single training step costing $5.6 million. Like, that's still a massive amount of money.
It is a massive amount of money, but that figure doesn't really tell the whole story. It's like focusing on the cost of gas for a road trip, but not really considering, how fuel efficient the car is. So the real innovation lies in their methods, which make the entire process much more efficient.
So it's not just about throwing money at the problem. It's about working smarter, right?
Yeah. Exactly. DeepSeek uses these really clever techniques like multi-head latent attention, which helps the AI process information faster, kind of like having a super organized filing system that can instantly retrieve the right information.
Okay, so they're streamlining the process, making it faster and cheaper.
Yeah.
But I've also heard about something called distillation that DeepSeek is using. What is that all about?
Distillation is a game changer. Imagine a master chef teaching a student their best recipes. Instead of having that student start from scratch, the chef shares their knowledge and techniques, making that student a much better cook in a much shorter amount of time.
So in the AI world, DeepSeek is taking the recipes from these larger, more complex models and using them to train smaller, more efficient models.
Precisely. They're taking the knowledge from these massive AIs and distilling it down into these smaller packages that are easier to use and adapt. This is huge because it means that developers can create these specialized AI tools without needing the massive resources of companies like Google or OpenAI.
So that's fascinating. It's like democratizing AI,
Mm.
giving more people the tools to create and innovate.
Exactly. And it's not just about making things cheaper. DeepSeek's approach could lead to a whole new wave of AI applications that are tailored to very specific needs.
This is already a lot to digest. We've got DeepSeek's efficient training methods. We've got their use of distillation to create these smaller, more accessible AI models. But there's another piece to this puzzle, I think, and that's reinforcement learning. What role does that play in DeepSeek's approach?
Yeah. So reinforcement learning, or RL, is like teaching a dog new tricks, right? You give the dog treats for good behavior, and they learn which actions lead to those rewards. And in RL, we give the AI a reward for achieving specific goals, and this kind of guides its learning process.
Okay, so instead of directly programming the AI, you're setting up a system where it learns through trial and error, and then getting these like virtual pats on the head when it does something right.
Exactly. This makes RL particularly effective for tasks with very clear right and wrong answers, like solving math problems or writing code. But DeepSeek goes a step further by combining RL with something called supervised fine-tuning, which is a more traditional approach to AI training.
So it sounds like they're blending the best of both worlds, giving the AI freedom to learn, but also providing some guidance and structure.
Precisely. It's kind of like a teacher who encourages students to experiment and explore, but also provides feedback and makes sure that they're on the right track. This approach is really key to DeepSeek's success in creating powerful and adaptable AI models.
Okay, so we've got these smaller, more efficient models thanks to distillation. We've got RL helping the AI learn and adapt. So what does this all mean for the average person? Someone who isn't building AI but wants to use it in their daily life.
Well, the potential is immense. Imagine having access to personalized AI tools that cater to your very specific needs and interests.
Okay.
So, for example, need help learning a new language? An AI tutor could tailor lessons to your learning style and track your progress.
Wow.
Want to write a song but don't know where to start? An AI assistant can help you compose melodies and generate lyrics based on your input.
That's incredible. It's like having a team of experts at your fingertips, ready to assist you with anything you can imagine.
Exactly. And that's why DeepSeek's open source approach is so groundbreaking. It's not just about making AI more efficient, it's about making it accessible to everyone, empowering individuals and smaller companies to innovate and create.
This all sounds very promising. But what about the companies that have been dominating the AI landscape, the ones who have kept their models very closely guarded? How are they reacting to this new wave of open source development?
Well, it's definitely a challenge to the traditional model of, controlling access to this advanced AI. Some companies are emphasizing the importance of their massive computing power and their research resources.
But if DeepSeek can achieve similar results, with more efficient methods and open source collaboration, doesn't that level the playing field?
It certainly has the potential to do so. The ease of distillation, thanks to models like DeepSeek, means that smaller companies can create these powerful AI tools without the need for vast resources. It's like a small bakery suddenly being able to bake cakes, as good as the most prestigious patisseries.
That's a delicious analogy. But I imagine not everyone is thrilled about this shift in power. Are there concerns about potential downsides to this open source approach?
Whenever a new technology emerges, there are always legitimate concerns about potential misuse. But it's important to remember that open source development also allows for greater transparency and scrutiny. With more people involved, it becomes easier to identify and address potential issues.
So it's a balancing act,
Yeah.
weighing the potential benefits of open access and innovation against the need for responsible development and safeguards.
Exactly. And that's why conversations like this are so important. We need to be aware of both the opportunities and the challenges and work together to ensure that AI technology benefits humanity as a whole.
Now, DeepSeek is a Chinese company, and their success highlights the growing role of China in this AI race. Is this simply a matter of national competition, or are there broader implications for the global AI landscape?
Yeah, it's certainly true that different countries and regions have different approaches to AI development, driven by their own priorities and perspectives. But DeepSeek's open source model transcends those national boundaries. It invites collaboration and innovation from around the world, potentially leading to a more diverse and dynamic AI ecosystem.
So rather than a winner-take-all scenario, we might see a more collaborative and decentralized AI landscape, with different countries and companies contributing their own unique strengths and expertise.
That's a very likely scenario, and I think it's a positive one. A more diverse and inclusive AI landscape is likely to lead to a wider range of applications and solutions that address a greater variety of human needs and challenges.
It's fascinating to think that we're witnessing this major shift in how AI is developed and accessed. We've gone from a world where a handful of powerful companies held the keys to advanced AI, to a world where open-source collaboration is democratizing these tools, making them available to a much wider audience. And this is just the beginning. The next few years are going to be incredibly exciting as we see how these new approaches shape the future of AI.
I couldn't agree more. The possibilities are truly limitless. We're entering an era where AI can empower individuals, drive innovation across industries, and help us address some of the world's most pressing challenges. It's up to us to ensure that this powerful technology is developed and used responsibly. But the potential for good is immense.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into the world of DeepSeek and the future of AI. We've explored their efficient training methods, their use of distillation and reinforcement learning, the impact of their open source approach, and the broader implications for the AI landscape. It's clear that DeepSeek is a force to be reckoned with, and their innovations are already changing the game.
And the most exciting part is that this is just the beginning. With the power of open source development and the global community collaborating and innovating, the future of AI is brighter than ever.
Thank you for joining us on this journey, and we encourage you to keep exploring the fascinating world of artificial intelligence. Who knows what incredible breakthroughs and applications await us in the years to come.
So, we were talking about reinforcement learning, and it's like teaching a dog new tricks. So let's take, for example, like a math problem. Like in traditional AI training, you would feed the AI a ton of examples, and you tell it exactly how to solve them. With RL, you give the AI the problem and like a set of rules, and then it just experiments with different approaches until it finds like a solution that actually works.
So it's less about memorizing specific answers. It's more about learning how to think critically and problem solve.
Exactly. And the beauty of RL is that it can be applied to like a wide range of tasks, from playing games to writing code to generating like creative text.
So how do they determine the rewards for the AI? How do you reward an AI for being creative, for example?
That's where things get really interesting. DeepSeek uses a combination of rule-based and model-based reward systems for tasks with clear right or wrong answers like math. The reward is simple. The AI gets points for finding the correct solution.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about tasks that are more subjective, like writing a poem or composing a song?
For those tasks, DeepSeek uses a more sophisticated approach. It's called model-based RL. Imagine an experienced writer mentoring a student. The mentor doesn't just give a grade, they offer feedback on style, creativity, and originality.
So in this case, the reward is coming from another AI model that has been trained to assess those qualities.
Precisely. This reward model can analyze the AI's output and provide feedback based on its understanding of language style and creativity. It's like having a virtual writing coach. That helps the AI refine its skills and produce more compelling work.
Wow, that's amazing. It sounds like DeepSeek is pushing the boundaries of what AI can do with this approach.
Yeah.
But, with great power comes great responsibility. Are there any, ethical concerns about these increasingly sophisticated AI systems?
Well, it's always important to consider the ethical implications of any new technology. And AI is no exception. DeepSeek is committed to responsible AI development, and they're actively working to ensure that their models are used for good.
So what steps are they taking to address these concerns?
Well, transparency is key. DeepSeek is making their models and training data open source, allowing for scrutiny and feedback from the wider community. They're also working on developing tools and guidelines for ethical AI development and use.
It's encouraging to know that they're taking these issues seriously. This whole journey into the world of DeepSeek has been a real eye-opener. It's clear that they're not just innovating in terms of technology, they're also rethinking how AI is developed and accessed, and that's incredibly exciting.
I agree. Their open source, their focus on efficiency, and their innovative use of reinforcement learning are all pointing towards a future where AI is more accessible, more versatile, and more beneficial to humanity.
We've been talking about how DeepSeek is really kind of changing the AI game with this whole open source approach and these efficient training methods. But one thing that really stood out to me was their use of reinforcement learning. It sounds like they're really pushing the boundaries of what AI can do with this technique.
Absolutely. Yeah. Reinforcement learning, or RL as it's known, in the AI world, it's like giving an AI a set of goals and just kind of letting it figure out the best way to achieve them on its own.
You mentioned earlier that it's similar to training a dog with rewards. Can you give us a real-world example of how DeepSeek is actually using RL to train their models?
Sure. So let's take the example of a math problem, right? In traditional AI training, you would feed the AI a ton of examples, and you would tell it exactly how to solve them step by step. But with RL, you give the AI the problem and a set of rules, and it just experiments with different approaches until it finds a solution that works.
So it's less about memorizing specific answers and more about learning how to think critically and solve problems independently.
Exactly. And the beauty of RL is that it can be applied to a wide range of tasks, from playing games to writing code to generating creative text.
I'm curious about how they determine the rewards for the AI. How do you reward an AI for being creative, for example?
That's where things get really interesting. DeepSeek uses a combination of rule-based and model-based reward systems. So for tasks with clear right or wrong answers, like math, the reward is simple. The AI gets points for finding the correct solution.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about tasks that are more subjective, like writing a poem or composing a song?
Yeah, for those tasks, DeepSeek uses a more sophisticated approach called model-based RL. So imagine you have an experienced writer mentoring a student. The mentor doesn't just give a grade, they offer feedback on style, creativity, and originality.
So in this case, the reward is coming from another AI model that has been trained to assess those qualities.
Precisely, this reward model can analyze the AI's output and then provide feedback based on its understanding of language style and creativity. It's like having a virtual writing coach. That helps the AI refine its skills and produce more compelling work.
That's amazing. It sounds like DeepSeek is really pushing the boundaries of what AI can do with this approach. But, with great power comes great responsibility, right? Are there any ethical concerns about these increasingly sophisticated AI systems?
Well, it's always important to consider the ethical implications of any new technology, and AI is definitely no exception. DeepSeek is committed to responsible AI development, and they're actively working to ensure that their models are used for good.
So what steps are they taking to address these concerns?
Yeah. Well, transparency is key. DeepSeek is making their models and training data open source, allowing for scrutiny and feedback from the wider community. They're also working on developing tools and guidelines for ethical AI development and use.
That's really encouraging to know that they're taking these issues seriously. This whole journey into the world of DeepSeek has been like a real eye-opener for me. It's clear that they're not just innovating in terms of technology, they're also rethinking how AI is developed and accessed, and that's incredibly exciting.
I agree. Their open source approach, their focus on efficiency, and their really innovative use of reinforcement learning are all pointing toward this future, where AI is more accessible,
Mm.
more versatile, and more beneficial to humanity.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into DeepSeek and the future of AI. I think we've learned a lot about their groundbreaking technology, their commitment to open source, and their vision for a more inclusive and beneficial AI landscape. It's clear that DeepSeek is a company to watch, and I think their innovations are likely to have a profound impact on the world in the years to come.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Thanks for having me. It's really an exciting time to be following these developments in this field. And, AI is rapidly evolving. I encourage everyone to stay curious and engaged as AI continues to shape our world.
That's great advice, and thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you. And to all our listeners out there, thanks for tuning into this deep dive. We hope you learned something new, and we'll catch you next time.